Dad when I said, "Oh, wait, I do have these." I reached into my back pockets, then presented both middle fingers. Dad's eyes narrowed.
"All right, Priscilla. Back to the bus with you."
I rolled my eyes again, pushed through the doors, and headed for the RV, leaving Dad to close the ruse. The prepaid visa had run out as expected, but when I squeezed the handle, the diesel started flowing again, this time free of charge. While I had been distracting the clerk, Dad had reset the pump. As the tank filled, I took a few deep breaths, trying to slow my heart. The adrenaline rush from a grift was almost as strong as the high from performing, but it faded quickly, leaving me to worry how we were going to book the next job, get the next meal, survive. I opened the secret pouch I had sewn in my hoodie and took out what I had lifted: 2 unripe bananas, a bag of pork rinds, and Linebacker's wallet. He only had $14, but I removed his driver's license anyway and jotted on the back in Sharpie: $14, Dunlap, Indiana. I stuffed our convenience store lunch back into the pouch and leaned back on the RV. Dad was supposed to be on a low-fat, low-sodium diet for his heart. I couldn't keep feeding him this crap. We needed decent food. We needed money. We needed a real gig. 5 minutes later, the RV was sputtering south on US 33.
"You're sure we're clear?"
I'm sure. Dad was paranoid about security cameras, but these old gas stations always had out-of-date technology. It had taken Dad only a fraction of a second to reach over the counter and reset the pump. If the move showed up on camera at all, it would be a momentary flash, and whoever was watching would be more focused on the girl stuffing chips down her shirt. Still, Dad maintained his grim expression, his mustache turned down at the ends. I didn't ask why. I already knew. He hated stealing and insisted we keep track of every penny we took. Someday, he said, we'd make restitution. I hated stealing too, but unlike Dad, I didn't believe we'd ever pay it back doing birthday parties and bar gigs. And in the meantime, we had bills to pay.
"How are we on time?"
Dad asked. The gold Breitling watch he'd inherited from his grandfather clung ever-present on his right wrist, though it had stopped working years ago. "It's 90 minutes to get back to Fort Wayne. We'll make it." Right now, normal high school juniors were shouldering backpacks and piling into cars, heading off to football games or fast food joints to hang with their friends. I was on my way to work a wedding with my 64-year-old father. As he drove, I opened the pork rinds. The aroma that rushed out of the bag triggered a flood of memories. Pork rinds had been our thing, Mom's and mine. We would polish off a whole bag while watching Ratatouille for the 1000th time, licking the red salt from our fingers and snorting with laughter. I popped one into my mouth, letting the familiar tang of vinegar overwhelm my senses. It was like I was 6 again, sprawled next to her on the couch. I ate another one, but it turned bitter on my tongue and was hard to swallow. Outside, rows of dead corn zipped past, and I wished I were home. I missed the warm, dry breeze of Las Vegas. I missed the sun. I missed my mom. I had been a little kid during Dad's Vegas years. Now I was living every 16-year-old's dream, residing in a 40-foot RV with my dad at the Cedarwood Mobile Estates in Fort Wayne. I'd spent more than half my life here, but it would never be home.
"What about closing with Subtrunk tonight?"
Dad said, eyeing me from the driver's seat.
"Get you back on the boards? You haven't performed in weeks."
I shook my head, felt my jaw tighten. "I'm behind, and I can't afford to let my grade slip any further." I kept my eyes on the barren cornfields outside, but I could feel Dad's gaze like a spotlight. We'd had this conversation 100 times. I had to be the only teenager in Indiana whose father was urging her not to study.
"I'm sure you'd make a great nurse, Ellie, but performing is in your blood. You've got it on both."
I cut him off before he could mention Mom.